Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Talia Swartz. I'm co-director of the MD-PhD program at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, Associate Dean for MD-PhD Education, and Associate Professor of Medicine in the Division of Infectious Diseases. It is my proud honor to greet students, faculty, honored guests, relatives, and friends to the 2022 MD-PhD Convocation exercise of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. This evening, we celebrate our 17 amazing graduates who navigated through completing their PhD and MD during this pandemic. Our students have received NIH grants, have published in high-impact journals, book chapters, have been plenary presentation speakers, patent holders, and have received dissertation and poster awards, all while serving the Mount Sinai community and the East Harlem community at large. They are engineers, scientists, clinicians, advocates, and humanists. You will hear about all the ways they are multifaceted and multi-talented. Each of these 17 graduates is connected to a loving sphere of supporters who have stood by and been anticipating this moment for so long. So to the loved ones and families of our graduates, we say congratulations to you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our graduating students who will be reading the 2022 Physician Scientist Oath. This oath affirms the ideals to which they will aspire as physician scientists. The students developed this modified modern Hippocratic oath. The oath appears in your convocation program. I would remind you that reading of the oath joins you in kinship with centuries of physicians and scientists dedicated to the art and science of healing. It is our tradition to have all physicians and scientists stand and take this oath. I ask all physicians and scientists to rise so that we may all together dedicate and rededicate our commitment to our profession.
We swear to fulfill, to the best of our ability and judgment, this covenant. We will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians whose torches we are to carry, and gladly share such knowledge as is ours with those who are to follow.
We will apply, for the benefit of the sick, all measures that are required, pursuing new means in research while avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism in practice.
We will remember that there is an art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug.
We will not be ashamed to say, "I know not," nor will we fail to call in our colleagues when the skills of another are needed for the advancement of scientific discovery and for a patient's recovery.
We will respect the privacy of our patients, for their problems are not disclosed to us that the world may know. Most especially must we tread with care in matters of life and death. If it is given us to save a life, all thanks.
But it may also be within our power to respect the loss of life beyond our control. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of our own abilities. Above all, we must seek to elicit truths within our scientific efforts, not to play God.
We will remember that we do not treat fever charts, cancerous growths, or chest CTs, but sick human beings, whose illness affects the person's family and our country as a whole. Our responsibility includes these related problems if we are to adequately care for the sick.
We will remember that we remain members of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body, as well as the infirm.
If we do not violate this oath, may we enjoy life and art, respected while we live, and remembered with affection thereafter.
May we always act so as to preserve the finest traditions of our calling. And may we long experience the joy of healing those who seek our help.
You may be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce my co-director, Dr. Margaret H. who will introduce our convocation address speaker.
I'm Dr. Margaret Barron, co-director of the MD-PhD program at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, Senior Associate Dean for MD-PhD Education, and Fishberg Professor of Medicine. It is my privilege to introduce our convocation speaker, who was overwhelmingly endorsed by our students, Dr. Yasmin Hurd, Ward Coleman Chair of Translational Neuroscience, and the director of the Addiction Institute at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai.
What a great moment. A gathering to celebrate the journey that you began about 8 years ago to become physician scientists. Graduates, I'm deeply honored and touched to be chosen by you as commencement speaker on this your special day. It's an incredible experience for me to have this full circle moment in being there with most of you at the start of your MD PhD journey and to see you actually graduate today. It is actually quite shocking to think that nearly 8 years have passed by since you started your MD PhD journey. Quite surreal. For me, it seems just like yesterday, but I know that you might not agree since you are the ones actually running the marathon to persevere through 8 grueling years of a rigorous combined medical school and PhD graduate training. You had to learn to balance the MD and PhD worlds, make it through tough medical school courses, carried out numerous research studies that you thought would never work, watched MD friends graduate years before you did as you tried to complete your PhD thesis. Even had to remember which side of the stethoscope to use when you re-entered medical school after the long PhD period. Some of you cut the umbilical cord of living in Aaron Hall, got married, had babies, and all of you try to figure out the next phase of your journey to residencies or other directions. During these 8 years, we also experienced the Me Too movement, a hashtag that raised the global consciousness about sexual assault and became a battle cry for the women's empowerment movement. George Floyd and the awakening of America and much of the world regarding the realities of racial disparities. We've seen our own country ripped apart by politics, exposing deep wounds festering for centuries. Endured the COVID pandemic, where healthcare workers became the frontline warriors. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a country trying desperately to maintain their freedom and reminding us all of what democracy really means. This has been one of our most challenging times, but it is your time. Despite all of this and more, you've not only persevered, but triumphed. You adjusted to many of the internal and external challenges you faced individually to stay the course of this journey. I have thought a lot about why you were chosen for this Sinai journey. You were chosen for this special MD PhD program because you demonstrated great intellect, critical thinking, hard work ethics. You recognized the importance of serving others and the community. But a common phrase used by many in describing you back then was always outstanding potential. Now this potential is your reality. About 2,000 MD PhD students will graduate this year out of over 20,000 medical students, emphasizing the rarity of your training. It is not an easy road, but it is your unique road. The MD PhD path was developed to produce a unique cohort of physician scientists who would bridge the medical and scientific worlds, who would actually move beyond such boundaries to accelerate biological solutions for addressing crucial clinical questions, or even to enhance the development of innovative and creative therapies. Simply put, though, you were chosen to be leaders. So today, you stand here fulfilling the goals that you had set for yourself and the expectations you created from your family and friends, and the lifelong ambition which has driven you here today and continue to drive you as you pursue your individual paths. There is no doubt that each of you have received a strong foundation to make a difference, not only in your life, but in the lives of many others. Today may seem like the end of a long journey, but it's really just a celebratory station along the highway. The experiences you've had at Sinai, the education you've received, and the friendships that you've made will stay with you a lifetime. Though you have borne the brunt of the journey, let's also recognize that this was not an individual journey. Your family, in preparing you for the journey, even before you came to Sinai, your friends who provided a listening ear during difficult times, your classmates who helped to give you a hand or pushed you beyond the limits that you had set for yourself, your teachers and mentors who provided a blueprint to guide you through some of the toughest passages of your journey, and that one special person who's been there for you in your life no matter what. Moreover, you also stand on the shoulders of scientists and physicians who have made tremendous breakthroughs to lay the foundation for your success. So what do you take with you on the next stage of your journey? Again, I gave significant thought about what words of wisdom I would impart as your Jamaican mom, seeing her babies leave the nest. And after all, it is a graduation speech, so here are some of my thoughts. First, embrace being that unique person that you are. Be visible in your differences. No matter what path you take, aim for being visible. Aim to help others to be visible as well. Treat every patient as you want to be treated. Words matter. Make sure that the person actually feels that they matter, especially at a time of their greatest fear. The character you show as a physician is reflected in the care that you provide, the advocacy you exert for your patient, and the accountability you give to your clinical team. The same extends for science. As Einstein noted, most people say that it is intellect which makes a great scientist. They're wrong. It is character. At the end of the day, everything comes down to character. Character in how you treat your patients, character in how you treat your colleagues and those in your team, and character in how you conduct your research. You've already demonstrated your wisdom, realizing that life is about the long game despite your Instagram world. That is why you dedicated 8 years to achieve this goal. Continue to make insightful decisions that look at the big long-term picture. Another critical lesson that I've learned is that success requires you to be bold. You've already shown bravery to pursue a path in which there were no guarantees that you would be here in this moment today, nearly 8 years later. Continue to be brave and be bold in the science and work that you do. As with all journeys, there will be twists and turns. Challenges, though, also provide opportunities. Opportunities to find yourself, opportunities for growth. There's an old saying that preparation meets opportunities. You have been well prepared through these 8 years for the opportunities and challenges that will come your way. Remember, though, that you are part of the solution. Sometimes it's easy to believe that you are the only solution. You're not alone. Know that your journey will continue to require mental and physical and spiritual strength. But as strong as you are individually, you cannot make the journey alone. Bring along positive people who will help to make the bright days brighter and lift you out of the trenches when needed. As good as you are to the world, make sure that you're good to yourself. Balance life. Always remember what gives you joy and prioritize that. In closing, I want to remind you of the honor and responsibility you have with being a graduate of Mount Sinai's MD-PhD program. You have a lot of power to help make big and small changes that can significantly impact not only medicine and science, but our society. Normally I would say no pressure, right? But there is. You've all been given a unique training. You were all chosen from an elite group. You can and will make a difference. So give back. be part of your community, locally or globally. We're clearly at a critical period in history, even in this country, in continuing to see third world conditions for so many in our society, though we are one of the richest and most creative countries on the planet. It is inconceivable to me that so many of our citizens still have such poor education and limited access to health care. Use your position to improve opportunities for everyone. It will significantly enhance your own success. Finally, I'm so very proud of you, proud of your fulfilling the potential that we all saw and knew that you could achieve. This is your moment. Congratulations. Enjoy the places you will go. Continue to blaze your trail that I know will bring you personal fulfillment and really impact the world.
Good afternoon. My name is David Muller. I am Dean for Medical Education at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. It gives us great pleasure to introduce this highly awaited portion of the program. It is now time to introduce our graduates. These students have completed a rigorous combined program during which time they have pursued training toward both a doctoral degree in medicine and in biomedical sciences. Students pursue their first 2 years of preclinical medical studies, followed by a research project, which concludes with a dissertation defense. Students then return to complete their clinical training, and those who graduate go on to pursue advanced training that enables them to embark on physician-scientist careers. Our students are multi-talented, passionate clinicians, analytical thinkers, creative educators, and problem solvers. Each of our graduates used their time at Mount Sinai to create, innovate, and enrich our community.
I'm Dr. Marta Frizzola, Dean for the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. Dr. Swartz and Dr. Barron will introduce each graduate and then invite each graduate to make brief remarks. The graduate will then be hooded by the individuals they have each designated. To those hooding, we are so happy you will take part in today's ceremony. Please use the queue to meet your student as we call their name. We ask that you please hold your applause until after Dr. Nestler has virtually conferred the degrees, when you will be invited to unmute. Please feel free to submit any comments and wishes in this chat. It is now our privilege to introduce the graduating 2022 MD-PhD class at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai.
Dr. Sahil Agrawal completed his PhD in the laboratory of Anne Schaefer, MD-PhD. The title of his dissertation is Role for PRC-Mediated Gene Regulation in Huntington's Disease. Dr. Agrawal has been a committed educator, serving as a teaching assistant for the first-year anatomy course at Mount Sinai and for an advanced molecular techniques course at Cold Spring Harbor. He has also contributed to the student-run free clinic in various roles. He will continue his studies at Yale Law School with a long-term goal to leverage his interdisciplinary training in law and medicine to help advance biomedicine.
There are so many people I would like to thank for helping me get to the position that I'm in today, and for making my time at Sinai so memorable. First, my parents and my sister for their unwavering and unconditional support. Suffice to say that I owe everything to them. To my lab mates, to my PhD mentor Anne, I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to work with and discuss science with every single day. You all made my experience as a PhD student truly special. I'd also like to thank the close friends I made at Sinai, who helped provide stability and balance when I've needed it, who have provided me with so many memories that I will forever cherish. To my original MD-PhD class, I'm rooting for your success as you finish your research and clinical training. And to the MD-PhD class that I joined and I'm graduating with, I'm inspired by your tenacity and wish you all the best as you go off to residency. Finally, I'd like to thank the MD and MSTP leadership, in particular Talia and Valerie, for their patience, encouragement, and guidance as I decided to pursue an unconventional career path. I appreciate all of you more than you know. Thank you again, and congratulations to all the graduates.
Dr. Eziwoma Alibo completed her PhD in the laboratory of Brian Brown, PhD. The title of her dissertation is Identification and Characterization of P53 as a Regulator of CD80 in Colorectal Cancer. Dr. Alibo has been active in multiple leadership roles in racial and social justice, helping to advance students who are underrepresented in science and medicine. She has been a committed educator through teaching in numerous medical school courses. Her long-term goal is to become a surgeon scientist.
Hello, everyone. I would like to express my gratitude to the many people, friends, family, mentors that have supported my journey and gotten me to this point. First, I would like to thank my loving family, my parents Pat and Ted, my siblings Efe, Mia, Devante, and Ome, my aunt Angela, and my cousins Lola and Adiola for the food, the vacations, and the laughs. Next, I would like to thank my MD PhD cohort, especially my ride or die, Alex. Without y'all, getting to this point would have been harder and not as fun. Next, my thanks to my closest friends, Gina, Janelle, Kitty, Modupe, for movies, brunches, and reality checks. To my mentors, Drs. Brian Brown, Maxime Denou, Ola Robluska, Judith Argudo, thank you for your patience and guidance. And lastly, to the MD PhD program, especially Yasmin Hurd for accepting me, and Talia for holding my hand. Won't have made it this far without all of you. To those that I didn't mention, thank you as well for all your love and support.
Dr. Joshua Borgerding completed his PhD in the laboratory of Miriam Murad, MD PhD, and Jeremiah Faith, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Human Intestinal Microbiota Modulate Tumor Immunity and Efficacy of Anti-PD-L1. Dr. Borgerding has been deeply involved in tutoring of K-12 children and is a patron of the arts in New York City. His long-term goal is to use his training in immunology to leverage his background in cancer immunology and microbiology to dissect and characterize complex clinical problems.
The MD PhD track has been a dream discovered and marathon started 14 years ago in rural Iowa. Along the way, so many people supported me and influenced my growth. I'd like to start by thanking my MSTP classmates. Damn, we did it. Thank you to my closest friends through WashU, Megan, Jasmine, Chris, and Kara. Through medical school, Ben, Ani, Bobby, and Sarah. Thank you to my mentors who opened doors to this life of inquiry, helping people. Dan Link, Laura Schutpeltz, Carl Craver, Al Ayala, and Gar Allen. Thank you to those who challenged and lifted me through the PhD. Alain Salmon, Sean Llewellyn, Camille Biggenwald, Stephan Jordan, Graham Britton, Joan Shang, and critically, my co-mentors Miriam Murad and Jeremiah Faith. Thank you to the MSTP leadership. Most of all, I'm grateful for the love of my family through this unpredictably predictable saga. Mom, Dad, Daniel, Marissa, Casey, and Callum, Ralph and Mary Lou Schmidt. My new family, David, Debbie, Camille, Mike, and Christina. And the brightest lights in my everyday, Nicole and Ruby.
Dr. Sandhya Chandra Sekaran completed her PhD in the laboratory of Shakran Akbarian, MD PhD. The title of her dissertation is Neuron-Specific Regulation of Chromosomal Megadomains in the Mammalian Brain, Implications for Retroviral Silencing. Dr. Chandra Sekaran has been a community leader, heavily involved in leadership at the EHOP Free Clinic, spearheading multiple initiatives to improve care for underserved patients and to develop educational curricula for MD PhD students. Her long-term goal is to use her scientific and clinical training to achieve a mechanistic understanding of women's reproductive health.
There are a multitude of people who have helped me achieve this milestone in my education. I would first like to thank my parents, who have never ceased to believe in me and in my potential, and my brother, who has shown me how to work hard while taking things in stride. Thank you to my PhD advisor, Dr. Shahram Akbarian, my thesis committee, and the members of the Akbarian Lab, both past and present, with whom I have forged lifelong relationships. Thank you to Dr. Yasmin Mia and the incredible colleagues I've worked with at the EHOP Free Clinic over all these years. You have shown me what change we are capable of creating, and our patients continue to remind me of the meaningful impacts of these changes. Thank you to the OBGYN department, particularly Drs. Catherine Chen and Joanne Stone, for their mentorship and guidance. A big thanks to the MSTP leadership, including Dr. Yasmin Hurd, who accepted me into the program back in 2013, Drs. Margaret Barron and Talia Swartz for their co-directorship, and Bianca Taylor, our program manager. Thank you to my MD PhD matriculating cohort. While we had vastly differing timelines spread across 4 years, we all did it. 12 students, 12 different specialties. Thank you to my graduating MD PhD cohort for welcoming me with open arms. I could not have gotten through transitioning to clinical clerkships in the midst of a pandemic without all the support and laughs along the way. Finally, I would like to thank my friends and family outside of the program. From childhood, high school, and college, our relationships have continued to blossom, and my life in New York City has shown so much brighter because of you all. I am truly blessed and hope to make you all proud.
Dr. Connor Gruber completed his PhD in the laboratory of Dusan Begonovic, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Monogenic Disorders of Aberrant JAK1 Activity. Dr. Gruber has been committed to improving the educational experience for MD-PhD students as a teaching assistant, through service at EHOP, and running the Allergy and Immunology Interest Group to raise awareness of immunologic diseases and promote multidisciplinary education opportunities for students. His long-term goal is to become a pediatric physician scientist studying the genetic underpinnings of immunologic disease.
I would like to take a moment to thank everyone that has supported me through this journey. First, I'm immensely grateful to my thesis advisor, Dr. Begunovich, for his mentorship, unending optimism, and investment in my development. With him stands a lab full of the best friends you could ask for. So for all the ideas, running jokes, and daily lunches, my warmest thanks to all the members of our lab family. Likewise, I owe much to my MD-PhD classmates who've shared in this unique experience, and of course, I'm grateful to our program leadership, who are forever our advocates. My deepest thanks goes to my family, their partners, and my in-laws. There are no better role models than my parents, no better company than my siblings. And finally, I thank my wife, Bethany. Words cannot express my gratitude for her everyday love and support.
Dr. Nicholas Heitman completed his PhD in the laboratory of Michael Rendell, MD. The title of his dissertation is Cellular and Molecular Mechanisms of Hair Follicle Dermal Sheath Formation and Function. Dr. Heitman has been involved in teaching as a teaching assistant in multiple courses and in serving the community in several leadership capacities, including community health fairs and as an activity leader in MedStart. His long-term goal is to become a physician scientist studying the mechanisms underlying skin disease.
First and foremost, I would like to thank my dissertation advisor, Dr. Michael Rendell, for taking me on as a student and allowing me incredible freedom to explore my curiosities, no matter how ambitious or imaginative. His guidance over the years in generally thinking critically, evaluating all things science with a close and careful eye, and navigating a career path to becoming a successful researcher has helped me grow as a budding scientist and will be invaluable well beyond my years of graduate school. I cannot thank enough the members of the Rendell Lab, past and present, for all their guidance, assistance, and friendship. Huge thanks for all the science and life discussions, laughs, gripes, coffee breaks, and movie discussions. I couldn't have asked for a better lab environment. They're the reason the lab was a home away from home. Many thanks to my thesis committee, Drs. Robert Krause, Nicole Dubois, and Kristen Brennan for their continued advice, mentorship, and always keeping a goal in sight. They are all wonderful role models from which I have and will continue to learn and emulate in my future career as a scientist. Last but not least, I'm eternally grateful for my amazing friends and family. To my older sister, Kiko, and brother, Derek, who molded me as a person as much as anyone else. I've always looked up to them both and undoubtedly got some of my tenacity and competitive spirit from our childhood years. Special thanks to my parents, Dick and Christy Heitman, for always encouraging me to follow my passion no matter where it took me, and never wavering in supporting my career choices without regard to money, prestige, or urgency, for fostering my creativity and curiosity in my lifelong search for understanding.
Dr. Kip Johnson completed his PhD in the laboratory of Joel Dudley, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Applications of Data Science for Precision Cardiovascular Medicine. Dr. Johnson has spent time as head of translational cardiology at Tempest Labs Incorporated, building off his dissertation work, and co-founded UVA Inc., a direct-to-consumer device company combining molecular diagnostics with machine learning to assist in pregnancy planning. His long-term goal is to become a physician scientist using machine learning to enable more precise treatment of cardiovascular patients.
This video is for everyone who helped me to finally get to this point. Finishing my MD PhD has been both challenging and rewarding. 8 years is a long time, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that we have certainly all grown immensely. While I am very happy to be moving on to this next chapter of my life in Chicago, it is somewhat bittersweet as I will be leaving behind an extraordinary number of incredible people here in my life in New York. First, thank you especially to my father, Tom, and my mother, Julie, who have been incredibly supportive throughout my entire life. I certainly would not be here without your constant love and support, and I'm glad that I'll be moving a little bit closer to home for the next few years. I'd also like to thank my PhD advisor, Joel, and my former lab mate and now Sinai professor, Ben, for helping me to develop into a scientist and, more importantly, for becoming my close friends. I also, of course, need to thank the MD-PhD leadership, both old and new, for supporting me, and to thank the rest of my MD-PhD class for being an incredible group of friends and even occasional roommates. We did it.
Dr. Deepak Kaji completed his PhD in the laboratory of Alice Wong, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Molecular Mechanisms Regulating Murine Tendon Regeneration and the Tendon Cell Fate. Dr. Kaji has been passionate about engineering and innovation, building artificial intelligence, stem cell biology, and tissue regeneration to accelerate the development of new therapeutics. He served as a teaching assistant in multiple medical school courses. His long-term goal is to become a physician scientist using stem cell modeling and artificial intelligence to study neuropsychiatric diseases.
I'd like to take this opportunity to begin by thanking my parents. I'd like to thank my mother for raising me by herself, and my father, who's found a way to keep giving long after his passing. I'd also like to thank Adam for his constant support in my life. I'd like to thank my brothers and my uncles, Danny and Rick, because it takes a village. I'd like to thank my friends, who are at this point family too. I'd like to thank my dissertation mentor, Dr. Alice Wong, for generally putting up with me. If I have a career in science, it's because at one point in time she gave me a skeptical yes. I'd like to thank the current and past MD-PhD administration, including Dr. Margaret Barron, Dr. Talia Schwartz, Dr. Kara Baggett, and Bianca Taylor-Starobin for helping me navigate a complicated path. I want to thank Dr. Alexander Charney for putting so much faith in me and for helping me build a future. My journey began with Dr. Yasmin Hurd, who was responsible for admitting me to the program. Because she believed in me, I was able to walk this road for 8 years, and so she's to thank for everything that comes next.
Dr. Hope Kronman completed her PhD in the laboratory of Eric Nestler, MD, PhD. The title of her dissertation is Medium Spiny Neuron Subtypes, Baseline Differences and Epigenetic Priming by Stress. Dr. Kronman has been committed to serving the community as student director of the EHOP Mental Health Clinic, pioneering the psychodynamic psychotherapy student training program, is committed to education through many years of tutoring and serving as a teaching assistant, and is a voracious reader. Her long-term goal is to use her unique training to characterize the biological and cognitive factors underlying psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy.
Thank you to the members of my Sinai MSTP family for all of the opportunities of the last 8 years. I've made it to this finish line only with the support of my community, who cradled me and allowed me to grow through myriad transitions. Most centrally to this community, my family. Since day one, you've instilled in me the twin ideals of rational discipline and enchanted wonder. Thank you, Mamu, Dado, Emma, Alex, Matt, Evelyn, Sabine, Eleni, Andy, baby Walden, my aunts and uncles, my brilliant cousins. You are with me always. Thank you also to my friends who've shown me unconditional support, who've inspired me by leading their own lives with grace, power, and determination. And finally, thank you to my mentors. Eric, you shaped both my scientific and social minds in a fundamental way. I trust you and look to you for advice as I do to my own family. And Elizabeth, you showed me the magic that can be found in the practice of holistic psychiatry and the ways to carry that practice into my daily life. The amount of gratitude I feel for this set of people is unfathomable. It will be a debt I pay forward to the world for the rest of my years.
Dr. Andrew Leader completed his PhD in the laboratory of Miriam Murad, MD, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Multiscale Characterization of NSCLC Identifies Cellular Determinants of Tumor Immunity. Dr. Leader has been heavily involved in EHOP quality improvement programs and mentoring students. He is also a marathon runner and a dad. His long-term goal is to become a physician scientist studying the mechanisms of disease processes through training in pathology.
I would like to thank Molly Larmy for encouraging me to apply for the MD-PhD program. I'm very thankful to the MSTP leadership who have implemented a strong framework and smooth transitions throughout, namely to Yasmin Hurd, Margaret Barron, Ben Chen, and Talia Swartz, as well as to other associate directors past and present, and also coordinators Courtney Manning, Gail Schneiderman, and Bianca Taylor-Strobin. I'm thankful to a countless number of mentors and advisors, but in particular to my PhD mentor, Miriam Murad, and informal advisor, Effie Koenigsberg, for their constant support and encouragement. I want to thank all of my classmates and lab mates, postdocs and residents in all the various stages who collectively inspire me with their talent and fortitude and compassion. I especially acknowledge the unique bond that I have developed over 8 years with my MD-PhD cohort. I'm thankful to my patients and their families whose struggles have served to forward my training. Thank you to my friends outside the program, especially Allie, Kevin, and Jake. Thank you to my parents, siblings, and in-laws for your constant love and support and for never questioning my pursuit of such a unique career or even giving a single weird look about it. Finally, for my wife Jillian and our son Teddy, whom I love extraordinarily, thank you for existing and sharing life with me and filling it with sunshine every single day.
Dr. Alexandra London completed her PhD in the laboratory of Avi Maayan, PhD. The title of her dissertation is Inferring Transcriptional Regulation by Data Integration. Dr. London has been committed to teaching, mentoring undergraduates, and as a teaching assistant, building off her prior life as a high school teacher. She's also a mountaineer, having climbed 12 large summits as her time as a student. Her long-term goal is to bring her background in systems biology and collaboration to her residency training and career as an analytical physician scientist.
I am forever grateful for the opportunity to train at the Mount Sinai MSTP program. I want to start by thanking my patients who opened their lives to me often at particularly vulnerable moments so that I could care for and learn from them. I want to thank my thesis advisor, Avi Maayan, for his patience, guidance, and for the opportunity to be a part of the Maayan Lab. My lab colleagues were a constant support of ideas, collaboration, and fun, and positivity. And with special thanks to Max, Alex, Dennis, Megan, and Sherry, I could not have imagined better colleagues. A big thank you must go to my wonderful MSTP cohort. It was such a privilege getting to know each one of you. Thank you to Margaret, Talia, and Bianca and other MSTP leadership and support staff. Your dedication to this program and its students is very evident, and I have benefited tremendously from your guidance. I would like to thank my family, especially my mother, Jan, my brother, Logan, and my late father, David. My mom has been an absolutely unwavering source of support and is always there when I call. She's also the best grandmother I could hope for my son. My dad had a wonderful way of helping me see solutions to challenges I was facing, particularly at the beginning of this training. And my brother Logan, my oldest friend, always ensures that I don't take myself too seriously, in addition to his unending support. And finally, I thank my rock, my husband Dan, who I met, married, and had a son with during my 7 years here. Dan has been a steady source of support and understanding through the joys and difficulties of this training. He challenges me daily through his own impressive example to approach every obstacle with good nature and grit. Thank you to all of you. I'm not sure I could ever repay you for what you've given me, but please know that I'll take the absolute best care of my patients that I can because of your support.
Dr. Seshat Mack completed her PhD in the laboratory of Lakshmi Devi, PhD. The title of her dissertation is Characterization of the Ligands of the Recently Deorphanized Striatal Receptor GPR83. Dr. Mack was instrumental in the foundational work that led to the Institutional Anti-Racism Initiative and has been committed to teaching and learning about racism in medicine. Her long-term goal is to use her unique training in molecular pharmacology and advocacy in her career as a physician scientist.
I would firstly like to thank my family, Teresa Mack, Jason Mack, Joser Mack, and my aunt Renee Mack, for their boundless love and endless unwavering support. Teresa Mack, thank you for demonstrating perseverance and strength of spirit and for your encouragement. Jason Mack, thank you for demonstrating calm and peace of mind and for your equanimity under duress. My aunt Renee and Joser, thank you for being the best friends a sibling could ask for. Thank you also to my partner, Rustam Ibrahim, for your unyielding support, steadfast love, and quiet, steady companionship. You are invariably a font of serenity amidst the madness. I'd also like to thank my dissertation advisor, Dr. Lakshmi Devi. Thank you for your expertise, your love of science, your love of mentorship, and your patience. Thank you to Dr. Yvonne Gomes, Dr. Mariana Duarte, and Dr. Achla Gupta for your patience, rigor, and enthusiasm. To my dear friends Anish Nandam, Douglas Mathern, Elias Whitelaw, Fiona Desland, Gaia Bethia, Isaiah DeCastro, George Figueroa, Jen Sanchez, Jared McFarlane, Josh Kurtaz, Kristen Jordan, Ashley Rogers, Lake Norden, Lindsay Smith, Marian Osocha, Mordecai Martin, Navindra Singh, Nefertari Collins, Philip Cohen, Sean Fields, and Yulia Zabiaka. Thank you all so very much.
Dr. Michael Martini completed his PhD in the laboratory of Jian Jin, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Development of Biased Non-Catechol Ligands of the Dopamine D1 Receptor, New Tools for Probing Therapeutic Mechanisms in Neurological Diseases. Dr. Martini has been involved in numerous teaching initiatives through both EHOP and as a teaching assistant in the medical school. He is an avid tennis player, runner, hiker, and guitar player. His long-term goal is to bring his background in medicinal chemistry to a career as a neurosurgeon scientist.
Thank you everyone for tuning into this celebration, and congratulations to my classmates on their tremendous achievements. I'm thrilled to have you all as lifelong colleagues and friends throughout our careers. In addition to my mentors and the program staff and leadership who have all been phenomenal sources of support, there are a number of important people I want to thank right now, without whom I would not be standing here today. First, I want to thank my parents, Mike and Laura Martini, who have sacrificed so much to give me all the resources and opportunities that I needed to make it to this point and beyond. I truly could not be blessed with more loving, caring, or supportive parents, and for that I will be eternally indebted to you both. I also want to extend my thanks to my parent-in-laws, Ken and Sue Baker. You've both been so kind and generous, and I'm extremely lucky to be able to call you both family. Next, I want to thank my brother Matt, as well as all of my friends, both here at Mount Sinai and elsewhere, for being such awesome people and sources of support during both the good times and the bad. Thank you for keeping the mood light and for keeping me in check. Finally, I want to thank my beautiful wife, Sarah Martini, who's been with me through thick and thin in this journey. Over the years, she has helped me face countless challenges and has been an amazing partner through it all. I undoubtedly share all of my successes with her. Thank you.
Dr. Grace Mosley completed her PhD in the laboratory of James Iatridis, PhD. The title of her dissertation is Interactions of Sex Effects and Intervertebral Disc Degeneration in a Rat Model of Chronic Back Pain Pathogenesis. Dr. Mosley has been committed to teaching, serving as a senior coordinating teaching assistant for the Structures course, and has performed around New York in an all-women samba reggae drumline. She's looking forward to starting her career as an emergency medicine physician.
I would like to thank everyone who helped me throughout this 8-year journey. My parents for their unwavering support and love. My family and friends for believing in me and making sure that I still had fun. Yasmin Hurd for taking a chance on me in 2014, and my mentors in both research and medicine, Talia Schwartz, James Iatridis, Laura Stone, and Trevor Poore. To the drummers of Fogo Azul for the camaraderie and creative outlet I didn't know I needed. And to everyone else who helped me get where I am today, I could not have done it without you. Thank you.
Dr. Alexander Reel completed his PhD in the laboratory of Arvind Dar, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Small Molecule Interactions Directed to the Scaffold Kinase Suppressor of RAS Modulate MAP Kinase Signaling in Cancer. Dr. Reel has been passionate about bridging education and clinical care through cancer biology and cancer patients and EHOP, and enjoys dancing and adult ballet and contemporary dance. His long-term goal is to become a physician scientist using structural and cancer biology to develop novel therapeutics.
Dr. Ryan Smith completed his PhD in the laboratory of Arvind Dar, PhD, and Avner Schlesinger, PhD. The title of his dissertation is Targeting Pseudokinases with Conformation-Specific Small Molecules. Dr. Smith has been involved in education as a Sunday school teacher and laboratory mentor and enjoys service design and technology, working on multiple projects through modeling, fabrication, and functional prototyping stages. His long-term goal is to become a physician scientist, translating therapeutic discovery of therapeutics to cancer patients.
Dr. Cindy Tian completed her PhD at Verily Life Sciences on the Immunology and Genomics team under Dr. Charlie Kim. The title of her dissertation is Integrated Genomics Characterization of Peripheral Immune Response in Non-Small Cell Lung Cancer, Implications for Checkpoint Inhibition Therapy. Dr. Tian has been invested in making the MD-PhD program a welcome place for all through numerous positions in leadership, mentoring of students, and throughout her training in teaching. Her long-term goal is to become a physician scientist, bringing her unique lens of engineering, immunotherapy, and collaborative team building to improve patient care for her patients in emergency medicine and beyond.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cindy Tian, and I'm so honored to be here today and to have the opportunity to thank all of the people who helped me get here. First, I would like to acknowledge and thank the Mount Sinai MSTP, especially Dr. Yasmin Hurd, who admitted me into the MD-PhD program and believed my potential, Bianca Taylor, Dr. Margaret Barron, and Dr. Talia Swartz, who continue to support me for many years as a young physician scientist in training, as well as all of my MD-PhD classmates who continue to inspire me every day with their passion for science and dedication to medicine. Second, I would like to thank my thesis committee, Dr. Matt O'Connell, Dr. Ben Chen, Dr. Dina Alexandropoulos, as well as my mentors, Dr. Charlie Kim and Dr. James Clark at Verily, without whom I would have not been able to complete my dissertation. Third, I would like to thank my wonderful friends, especially Dr. Sandhya Chandrasekharan, who spent the past 9 years with me in the MD-PhD program, B.U. Lee, who taught me everything about genomics, and without whom all of my RNA-seq experiments would have failed, John Balibalos, who taught me flow cytometry and helped me too many times, my friends since college, Mitra Anashuravani, Dr. Talia Ramchal, Dr. Minji Kong, and Dr. Stephanie Chung, Lawrence Chin, who supports me by eating carbohydrates and watching Survivor with me, my childhood friends without whom I wouldn't be able to be here today, Sonia Harrower, Ellen Terry, Axel Sinofsky, Emily Russell, J.D. Sandu, and Owen Tillett, and many of my friends who filled the past 9 years and 33 years with endless joy. Finally, I would have never gotten to this day without my family. I would not be here without their constant support and belief in me as a young physician scientist. They gave me the strength and motivation to persevere and achieve this goal, and especially to my brother Hank, who is so smart, brave, and creative and kind, to my cousin Dr. Tina Shah, who has amazing work ethic, to my dad, Dr. Jun Tian, who taught me how to read English, complex math, and physics, and always told me I was the best, and to my mom, Thangdrin Xia, who fed me delicious foods and always made me feel safe and loved and cared for, who told me not to go into emergency medicine, but supported me when I decided to anyway. My family is the reason I'm here today, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart for supporting me always. This is for them.
Congratulations to all of our graduates. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Eric Nestler, Dean for Academic and Scientific Affairs, to virtually confer the degrees on our graduates.
It is my pleasure to virtually confer the degrees of MD and PhD on the MD-PhD class of 2022 of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. As an MD-PhD myself, I appreciate the extraordinary accomplishments of today's graduates in becoming double doctors. Please join me in congratulating all of our degree recipients on this very special occasion. You will all be unmuted to share your applause and congratulations. Let's whoop it up. I would now like to call on Dr. Margaret Barron to deliver the closing remarks.
Congratulations to the MD-PhD class of 2022 of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai and to their families. We're proud of you and look forward to watching your careers unfold. Please always stay in touch as you are forever a part of the Icahn Mount Sinai family. The 2022 MD-PhD convocation exercises of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai are now concluded.